This lesson is about solving points of intersection in a parametric equation. So as you have learned, you've seen the intersection point so many times in the pure maths syllabus in year 12, year 13, where you've seen them in normal straight lines, circles. What else have you seen them? Maybe in differentiation as well. But one common point is that when they're asking about intersection point, then you have to do simultaneous equation. Okay, right. So the key is to find the value of t first. Right, example in here. A curve is given parametrically by the equations x equals t squared and y equals 4t. Now this is parametric because you've got x equals something and y equals something, and connecting them has the t in there. So t is a parameter. The line x plus y plus 4 equals 0 meets the curve at A. Find the coordinates of A. Now let you read the question again and answer me this question. It sounds silly, but answer me this question. How many lines are there in this question? There are 2 lines. Now, even if there are three equations, x equals t squared, y equals 4t, and then x plus y plus 4 equals 0, but there are only 2 equations, two lines. The first line is here. That's the first line. Oops, sorry. This is the first line. So they make one graph, even though 2 equations, because we know parametric equation comes as a pair, but the pair could be merged into one Cartesian equation. So the first job we have to do is to find the Cartesian equation from these parametric equation. So let's do that. So x equals t squared, y equals 4t. Well, to find a Cartesian equation, you're going to make t a subject in here. But do we have to actually? No, what we can do is, we can do that, or we can find a Cartesian equation and do simultaneous equation. However, the quicker way would have been actually, now I think about it again, why don't we substitute the x into here and the y in there? It'll be much quicker. So simultaneous equations, we're going to substitute x equals t squared and y equals 4t into x plus y plus 4 equals 0. So x is t squared, so x is t squared, so I can rewrite x plus y as t squared plus y 4t plus 4 equals 0. And then this gives us a quadratic with t, so put in a calculator, you get t equals to -2 or -2. So therefore, to find the coordinates of A, so in A, x equals t squared minus 2 squared, that's 4, and y equals 4t, 4 times -2, that's -8. So A equals to 4 minus 8. Right, that's one quick question. You do, right? Next one, example. The diagram shows a curve C with parametric equations x equals at squared plus t, and y equals at cubed plus 8, where a is a non-zero constant. Given that C passes through the point -4, 0, find the value of A. First question. There's always a first question, you know, in every question I ask, in every example that we do. The first question is, how many variables are there? How many variables are there? So in terms of letters, we've got x, y, t, and a. But in terms of variables, there are only 3 of them, x, y, and t. Why? Because a is a constant. Sir, did you make it up? No, I didn't. It tells you a is a non-zero constant. That means once we found the value of a, it stays as that number or that value throughout the whole question, because a is a constant. That means a does not change. X, y, and t, however, will change in the context of the question based on different points. Remember, t is like time. If you think about this graph in here, this C graph, okay, imagine this is the path of Mario. Okay, imagine you're playing a game in Mario. Mario is sliding off, let's say, a cliff. You have to make an equation that projects, that simulates the path of Mario sliding. Okay, then this is the path. Okay, so when t equals 0, Mario may be here, and then as time goes, Mario goes. So you know, so t is a variable because t is time. For example, x and y are the coordinates. So in here, find the value of a. Now we're given one piece of information only, which is the minus 4, 0. So we're going to use the minus 4, 0. So c equals minus 4, 0. We know the curve passes through that point. When a line or graph passes through a point, we can sub the point into the line. This is your x and that's your y. So, and how can we relate x and y? Well, we've got two equations, one with x, one with y. So if we replace the minus 4 into x equation, then minus 4 equals at squared plus t. But also we have, sub in the y equation, y equals at cubed plus 8. Okay, now I've got two of them. Question is, which one do we use? If you're unsure, why don't we try both? Okay, so left hand side, if you try to solve the equation, you realize you can't. Reason being is you've got two variables, a and t. You can't really solve the equation. So, you know, that's a dead end. Next one. This one, however, could be solved because it's like simultaneous quadratic equation. Two brackets multiply, give you 0. Then one equals 0, or the other equals 0. So we found a equals 0. Can we take that? No. A is a non-zero constant. So unfortunately, even though we've got a value of a, you can't have it. Okay. It's like as a kid, you walk past McDonald's, you want to get ice cream, but mum says no. What can you say? You know. So mum says a is not 0. So a is not 0. So you saw a equals 0. You have to walk past it and then say goodbye to it. So a is not 0. So t cubed equals 8. That's the only lead we've got. So we're going to carry on with the calculation. So t cubed equals negative 8. Can you cube root negative? Yes, you can. It's a misconception. Students think they can't cube root negative. You can't square root negatives or fourth root negatives, but you can cube root negative. Okay, so if you do cube root of minus 8, you get negative 2. But that's not what we need because t is minus 2. So then what we can do is we can now use this equation. So minus 4 equals a times minus 2 squared plus minus 2. So minus 4 equals 4a minus 2. Minus 2 equals, bring the minus 2 over, becomes a plus, divide by 4, a equals negative a half. Mum says a could be minus a half. So a is non-zero. So a is minus a half, and that's the answer we need. Okay, so that's the value of a. Part B, find the coordinates of the points A and B where the curve crosses the y-axis. So y-axis, cross the y-axis. When they say a curve crosses the y-axis, what information has it given you? Cross the y-axis, meets the y-axis. That means when x equals 0. Right? So when x equals 0. So we're going to use this. So part B, let me rewrite the equation of x. So we are told, so x equals at squared plus t. When x equals 0, 0 equals a, we know it's minus a half. Now t, is t still minus 2? We found t is minus 2 previously. No, because remember what I said, t is a variable. T is different. Depends on the context of the question. So t changes over time. So t is a variable, so we cannot make t as minus 2. A is a constant, so a will stay as minus a half. So at squared minus a half t squared plus t. Okay. So after explaining so many things, I would suggest you on the side, when you hear something, when you listen to something that is worth making a note, do write it down there, because these are the keynotes that makes you understand how to approach a question. When you have a similar dilemma, face a similar problem in the exam, then this kind of concepts are going to help you to understand, to make a decision whether I should keep t or not. Okay, because in maths, there's only so much I can teach you. The main thing I can teach you is how to think. All right, not about dinner, but about should we keep t, okay, or should we not? Right. Next. Okay, so what have we got next then? Well, here we've got an equation. Why don't we solve it? So 0 equals is a quadratic with no c value. So I factorize t out, half t plus 1. So then t equals 0 or minus a half t plus 1 equals 0. Bring the minus 1 over. Bring the 1 over becomes minus 1 times by minus 2, t equals 2. So t equals 0 or t equals 2. Well, t equals 0 or t equals 2. We have 2 points, and that makes sense because we have 2 values of t, don't we? So point A and point B, 2 values of t, so makes perfect sense. Now you found t values. What can you do with it? Think. What do we want? ice cream. Oh, sorry. I mean coordinates. We want coordinates. Coordinates about x and y. We've got x equals 0. That means we know the coordinates definitely 0 and y. So in order to get to the answer, we need the value of y, right? So to find the value of y, we need a y equation, right? If you're hungry, you go to McDonald's. No, you get food, right? You get food. So you get y. We want to use the y equation. So y equals a bracket t cubed plus 8. So carry on. So y equals a bracket t cubed plus 8. I know a is definitely minus a half. So minus a half t cubed plus 8. Perfect. If I want to find y, then I know t, and which I do, because I got two values of t. When t is 0, and when t is minus 2. No, t is minus 2, t is 2, sorry. T is 2. So when t is 0, y equals to minus a half times 0 plus 8, which is minus 4. Therefore, one coordinate is 0, 4. And the other one, when t is 2, minus a half, 2 cubed plus 8. Now, this is dangerous. Do not try to copy me at home. Okay, I'm using mental maths. That's dangerous. And that's minus 8. Let me do it twice again. 2 cubed 8. Yep, just make sure I didn't make fun of myself. So 0 minus 8. So now look in the diagram again. Point A is above point B. So we know A must be the, if I made a mistake, oh, minus 4, minus 4. A must be this one, and B must be this one. And voila, that's the answer. Okay, so again, it's not about how I perform the algebraic skills in here. Obviously, it's important, but if you want to achieve high-level maths, it's more of thinking step by step. Why do you do this? Okay, why do you go to McDonald's? Because I'm hungry. Because I like McDonald's. Because because who doesn't, right? So that's the same thing. In part A, if you want to find the value of A, you're given 1 point minus 4, 0. Therefore, you sub in the point. That's the only thing you've got. So that's your x and y, and sub into the x equation, y equation. You approach a dead end in x equation, then move on. You don't do y. Okay, that relationship. If you're stuck with sub, okay, if you're not happy, if you can't go any further with that equation, move on. Okay, so you move on to the next equation, the y equal the equation, and you realize you found t equals minus 2. Okay, so I've learned something. T equals minus 2. Now, with the previous equation, I can move forward. So I will go use that. And t equals minus 2, I get a equals minus a half. Part B, I was told crosses the y-axis. That's the hint, that's the sign for you that x equals 0. So use that. When x equals 0, how can I use x equals 0? X equation. So sub in 0 in there. That's what I did. 0. Put in the x equation. I found the two values of t. But I'm not sure what to do again. Read the question. I need the coordinates. Coordinates means y. You find a y value, y equation, sub in the t values, and there we go. All right, that's simple. That's life. Move on. Next one. Not next life. That's what I meant. That's not what I meant. By the way, if you see this butterfly in here, this is one of the parametric equation. Parametric equation can make really nice curves, really nice graphs, unlike or really ugly ones like this one, like a banana in here, or like a children doodle. But yes, it can make really nice graphs. So yes, so you can even use parametric equation to sort of model a butterfly, how they fly, how they, yeah, etc. Anyway, example, the diagram shows a curve C with parametric equation. So x equals cos t plus sine t and y equals t minus pi over 6 squared, where t is between minus pi over 2 and 4 pi over 3. Find a point where the curve intersects with the line y equals pi squared. They even gave you intersect the line y equals pi squared. That means when y equals pi squared. So part A, we're given an equation in the y, so naturally we use the y equation. So sub y equals pi squared into y equals t minus pi over 6 squared. So y equals pi, so pi squared equals t minus pi over 6 squared. Square root on both sides, and then you will get pi equals t minus pi over 6. So add the pi over 6 over, so t equals 7 pi over 6. Right? So are we done? Read the question. Okay, find a point. Have we got the point? No, we don't. Point is x, y. We found t value. Doesn't help. We need to find x and y. We need to find x. So x equal cos t plus sine t. So x equal cos 7 pi over 6 plus sine 7 pi over 6. So plug in, okay, and then you should get, now actually there's one fun fact, something interesting I do want to go through with you. Now, can I invite you to put this in the calculator? Put this line in the calculator, okay? And now, I want you to write down your answer, okay? Write down your answer in here, okay? Let me ask you a question, okay? Which one do you write? Do you write number 1 or number 2? There is a difference. Which one the calculator gives you? The calculator gives you number 1. So the minus on the outside, you must put negative on the outside. Now, you must know the difference between the two. Because if you put a negative on top, it's wrong. It's a different value. When the minus outside bracket is the outside fraction, if you want to apply to numerator, it'll be negative bracket 1 plus root 3 over 2. So you can, these two are the same, but that one is not. Okay, so know the difference. So the minus, if the calculator tells you the minus to put outside bracket, put it outside bracket. If you do want to put it on the top, okay, you're a bit rebellious. Okay, I want McDonald's despite my mom saying no, then that's fine. Put a minus on the top and put a bracket. Okay, so you can write minus on the outside, or you can write negative 1 minus root 3 over 2. Just be careful with that. All right, that's something, you know, quite trivial, but not a lot of people will mention that. So I still read the question, part A, find a point. Have I got the point yet? I've got the x, but I haven't got the y. Well, actually, y is given, pi squared. So y is pi squared. So the point, therefore, is negative on the outside, fraction, 1 plus root 3 on top, 2 pi squared. Okay, part A done. Part B, find the coordinates of the points A and B where the curve cuts the y-axis. Okay, cuts the y-axis. Maybe you can tell me, I'm running out of breath now because I'm running too fast at McDonald's. Cuts the y-axis. What information is this? Let me enjoy my ice cream while I teach. I'm just kidding, I don't have ice cream next to me. Cuts the y-axis means x equals 0. Okay, so we sub in when x equals 0. So, you know, maths is just following instruction and understanding what they have given you and try to apply it. So it's like, you know, it's like someone yelling, brothers, siblings yelling to you, I'm hungry. Then what do you do? They want you to do something for them, but obviously you will say, no, you don't. Okay, you're hungry as well. Then that way, you don't have to do it. Anyway, so when x equals 0, so when x equals 0, we use the x equation. So x equal cos t plus sine t. When x equals 0, 0 equal cos t plus sine t. We have an equation of cos and sine. What can we do? There are a million things going in your head, maybe about 10, maybe about double angle formula, maybe about compound angle formula, millions of things going in your head, or maybe it's just the chips, the French fries in the McDonald's. But this one is definitely about 10. Sine over cos makes a 10 because the left hand side is 0. So if I bring the cos to, bring the sine to your left hand side, maybe negative sine t equal cos t, then divide both sides by negative sine t. So divide both sides by negative sine t. Or actually, not sine t, divide both sides by negative cos, by cos t. Yeah, because sine over cos is 10. So divide both sides by cos t. Then on the left hand side, I'll get negative 10t. On the right side, I get 1. So negative 10t equals 1. I bring the negative over, so 10t equals minus 1. T equals inverse 10, arc10 of minus 1. Plug that in the calculator. I get negative 1/4 pi. So negative 1/4 pi. Let me check the domain of t. T is between minus pi over 2 and 4 pi over 3. So minus 1/4 of a pi is in the range. Yep, because negative 0.25 is smaller. So it's greater than 0.5 anyway. Yeah, so it's in the range. But we need two values because point A and B. So two values. Therefore, I need to use my class diagram. Pi over 4 in here. When 10 is negative, the other value is here. So that's pi. So this value is pi minus pi over 4, which is 3 pi over 4. So or 3 pi over 4. So that's the two t values. With the question, Find the coordinates. Coordinates means x and y. I know x is 0, so the point is 0 something. The something means in the y, so I need to use the y equation. So y equal t minus pi over 6 squared. What can we do? So when t equals negative pi over 4. Can I just say something in this question? This question wants you to find exact value. Probably didn't say in part B, but can you make sure you put an exact value somewhere in part B? Exact value. Exact value. I have to stress it out because if you try to put the whole thing in calculator, it will give you decimal. So when t equals minus pi over 4, y equals negative pi over 4 minus pi over 6 over 2 squared. Now try to put the whole thing in calculator, it will give you a maths error. Not maths error, sorry, a very weird decimal. Why doesn't it give you an exact value? Because pi, when you do pi squared, calculator can't write pi squared. So what can you do in here? Now, there's a trick you can do. Now, why don't we simplify actually, minus pi over 4, is that right? T minus pi. Yeah, why don't we simplify the middle first? So minus a quarter, so negative pi over 4 minus pi over 6. I'm just doing the calculation. So I get what? So I get y equals to negative 5 over 12 pi squared. Yep. So now I square the whole bracket. So square negative is positive. 5 is 25. 12 squared is 144. Pi is pi squared. Yeah. Right. Do the same for the other one. Okay. Would you like to have a go at the other point when t equals 3 pi over 4? And then play the video when you got an answer. When t equals 3 pi over 4, you should get y equals 49 pi squared over 144. So the coordinates are 0, 25 pi over 144 pi squared, and 0 and 49 pi squared over 144. These are the points A and B. Right, is that all? Yeah, probably done. All right. Last but not least, a practice question. Pause the video, have a go at the question. Okay, when you're ready for the answer, you can press play. Well, here's the final answer: A equals 0, 3, and B and part B x equals 1. Pi to show that question actually. So yeah, we should. If you haven't got that, so I'm going to explain the answer. If you got it right, well done. Okay, lesson over for you. Right, if you don't, let's go through why. Question A. Let's read the question. The curve crosses the y-axis. Crosses the y-axis at point A. So crosses y-axis means x equals 0. So let's do that. Part A, when x equals 0. So we use the x equation. 0 equals 1 minus a half t. Bringing minus half t over becomes positive. Times it by 2, t equals 2. Then I sub into y equation. Y equals 2 to the power of 2 minus 1, which is 3. Therefore, the coordinate is 0, 3. Simple. Part B. Find the x coordinate of point B. We're told crosses the x-axis, means y equals 0. So part B, when y equals 0, we're subbing to y equation. So 0 equals 2 to the power of t minus 1. T is in the variable, so I'm thinking about ln or e, something like that. So minus 1 over 2 becomes positive. 1 equals 2 to the power of t. ln on both sides. Then you realize ln1 put in calculator 0. ln 2 to the power of t. We use ln. The whole point of us using ln is we can bring a t over using log rule. So t ln 2. Divide ln 2 over, t equals 0. So when t is 0, x equals to 1 minus a half times 0. So x equals 1. End of question. All right. If you wonder, it can't be that simple in part A, part B. Part C or part D, the end of it will be asking you to find the area under the curve using integration, which is something we've not done yet because integrating parametrically is not something we've done. But this will be the end of the question, where the question is leading to. All right, and that's the end of chapter 8.4. All right, thank you.